Okay, so for this part, we're going to cut these corner jig parts with the laser printer. And so you need the files for this. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to your Omnibox files and laser files. And this is already set up to you as a PNG. But basically the way that the computer work or the Epilog lasers work is you have to print something to it. So this is set up to have our spacing. I'm going to click print, and then I want to select the Epilog engraver. So once I have that, it's not connected to the actual component here, the actual printer, but when I hit print, it's going to bring up this dialog box for the Epilog job task manager. So you can see there's my part. And over here, I have a couple of options. It's not, again, connected, but you would see if it was connected and the laser's on, you would actually see the image of your material below using the camera. So we have a couple of options here. We can either engrave or we can have a vector cut. So we can cut it and we can specify a couple of things. The speed, the power, are the two ones that we're going to do. If something is not very thick or very dense, we can go less power and faster. If it's really thick and dense, we have to go slower and with more power. We can also do our number of passes, so we can make it go multiple times around. So we have some calibration files that are set up so that we can look at what those settings are. And I'll talk through those settings when I'm actually connected to the machine. But that's really it. You're going to take the file, this PNG file, put it on the flash drive, bring it over to the laser, make sure everything is turned on appropriately, pull it up, print to it, and then you will load your material and go from there. All right, that's it for this part. All right, so this is our 40-watt Epilog laser cutter. And what you're going to do when you come to it, it should look like this, where everything is off and it's covered. You're going to take the sheet off of it. It's got a material sheet here for different thicknesses, what you can cut and can't cut. Put that to the side. You can go ahead and just place this below for right now. We're going to put it back on, we're done. Now, the way this is set up is there's three things that need to turn on. There's the laser, and then there is a fume extractor, which is down here, that gray box. And then behind it, that you can't really see, is going to be our air pump, so that it's going to put compressed air into the machine. So it's in the back, it's on the ground. When you get to it, there's an easy way that all three of them have to be on. All you need to do is there is an on switch, right? Big red switch that you're going to basically toggle on, and that should power everything up. You still want to verify that it is working correctly, but that should basically start up. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to start up the computer, let that power up, and then I'm going to press the green button here to actually power on all those three machines. You can hear the compressor kick in. You'll see the lights on your fume extractor, and then it's pretty obvious that the laser is going to get set up and go as well. Alright, I'm going to sign into the computer. There should be no login required for the computer. And while that is happening, I'm going to show you what this looks like from our laser here. So let me pause for a second. All right, so here's our laser. When we open it up, again, you should hear the air that's coming out. So if I bring this a little bit closer, what you'll see, right, here's our actual laser. And then this air is going to help keep the smoke and fire down. Here, this is our camera, which when we place our material in is going to help us position where we want things to go. So really what we're going to do for this project is we're going to cut it using this kind of 1/8 inch piece of wood. We're going to just drop it in there. And that's really it for the setup. We don't have to hold it, we don't have to do anything there. And at this point, what we're ready to do is go to the computer and make sure that we can actually send the file to it. Now, even though this is clear, you don't need to have eye protection with this laser. There's lots of lasers where you do have to worry about it. If when you're cutting, you open up the laser lid, it's going to automatically turn off. And so you should be okay. But you do need to make sure that the fume extractor and the compressor are on so that we don't put a bunch of smoke into the shop. Alright, so I'm ready to, everything's turned on, it's ready to go. I need to actually bring up my part on my computer so I can send it to the laser. So I put the USB drive in. I'm going to click on the files icon down here. There's my USB drive, laser projects, Omnibox corner jig, and I'm going to open. It asks me what to open it with. It doesn't really matter as long as I can print it. So there's my file. I can't see it because it's transparent and black. I'm going to print it, and not to a PDF, Epilog engraver, and I'm going to hit print. So just like before, hopefully that opens up my taskbar, but now actually since I am attached to the machine, let me get a better view of that, what you'll see is that's my actual piece of wood, right? So that if I lift up the lid, right, that camera is going to track where my piece is actually going to sit, right, where I can actually put it on the machine. So that's a huge feature and really helpful when we're looking at this. So my settings for this, I'm going to cut this, I'm going to set this over here. I don't want to engrave, I want a vector cut, but I don't know the speed or power. So what we have to do is we have to look at some of our test materials that we've created before to see what those are, right? So this is our 40 watt laser. We want to find a material. This is out of styrofoam, this is out of cardboard. What I'm looking for is one that is my 40 watt, this one here, and you can see it goes up by speed to 100, the fastest, and it goes to power. So I can see here if I go slow, right, anything in the 10 is going to cut it, 20 will mostly cut it, but I have to go full speed. So I'm going to go kind of somewhere in the middle. I'm going to say I want to go pretty fast, and I want to make sure it goes through, so I'm going to say 60. So my speed is going to be 20, and then my power is going to be 60% of its maximum, again, for my 40 watt laser. So I'm going to get that set up, and then I'm going to send it to the machine and show you what that actually looks like when it cuts. All right, hopefully you can see it now. I had a little bit of a hard time getting my actual image to show up on my piece. So you can click to fit or to table, and then basically move this around where you want it to go, and that's where it'll actually cut. So to save some wood, I'm going to place it in the corner, and what did I say? I said I was going to go 20 and 60, so I'm going to change this to be vector, and I want my speed to be 20 and my power to be 60, and that's really all that I need to do. I'm only going to be able to cut that once. I do want to make sure here, this is critical, the laser needs to know how far off the material it is, right? So if this is your material, it needs to have a specific distance that it's height above it. So we're going to turn this autofocus to be the plunger. What that'll do is the laser will come down and touch the material and figure out the correct distance for that piece. All right, what we're going to do now basically is we print. So if I say print, that's going to send it to the laser, and then I'll show you how we're going to actually cut that thing out when we get it on the laser. Okay, so I print from my computer, and now what happens is it doesn't automatically turn on the laser. What I need to do now is it's giving me the jobs that are able to print here. You can see There's one at the top that is the corner jig, and there's an Epilog demo below it. Basically, what I'm going to do is it's a touch screen here, so you can toggle back and forth. But I'm going to click on that one there, and when I hit this play button, that should start the laser actually running. So I'm going to do that here. I'm going to hit play, and that's it auto-focusing. And there it goes, it's cutting out my part. So we'll see if we have our settings correct. Alright, let's see, give it a second for the smoke to clear, and then what we're going to do is we're going to open it up, pull it out, and hopefully our piece comes off. It looks like 2 of these, right, the holes dropped out, and my settings were pretty much spot on. It's a little bit tight, but it cut all the way through. And I have my 2 pieces for my corner jig. I'm going to put this back down. I'm actually going to put that material back in here because we can reuse it. There we go. And if I needed to cut another one, I can move it around and go from there. Now when we're all done, what we're going to do is make sure that everything is off again. So to do that, all we need to do is press the red button. Everything should power down, it's quiet, and then we'll turn off the computer, and that will be ready to go for the next group that needs to use it. Now if other people are going to use it during the day, you can leave it on, but if we're done with it, then we'll turn everything off to make sure that everything is safely stored.